right, now moving on to the Western Conference predictions. Boy, I already mentioned how these were tough, but these are really, really tough. And someone's got to be last. And I really like these teams at the bottom, but someone's got to be last. Someone's got to be first. That's just kind of how life goes. And at 15, the worst team in the West, I got the Sacramento Kings. That's who I got. It just because they have such good potential, but they are so young, and I don't see it happening for them. They got a lot of people, obviously. De'Aaron Fox in the draft, Justin Jackson, Harry Giles, Bogdan Bogdanovic. He was the 27th overall pick in the 2014 NBA draft, and he signed the biggest rookie contract ever, a 3-year, $36 million deal. That's insane. He is a star in the EuroLeague. I believe he was the MVP of the EuroLeague for, was it Fenerbahce? It was either Fenerbahce or it was, not Galatasaray. It might have been Fenerbahce. And they also got Frank Mason. They got Vince Carter. George Hill and Zebo were also very big additions, and I think starting players in the new Knicks lineup. Now, I know that they got them. Like Zebo, he's just kind of getting old, and George Hill. This team and then the 14th and 13th teams, they can kind of switch. I don't know. Maybe Sacramento won't finish last, but I don't know. They lost Rudy Gay, Tyreek Evans, Collison, Aflalo. Let's just go to their roster. They're just so young. They got a few old guys, but I just don't see it. Oh, they even have the updated. So here we go. We got George Hill at the 1. Yeah, I'd agree with that. George Hill at the 1. I'd say Buddy Hill at the 2. Now they got Malachi Richardson here at the 3. I actually think Bogdan Bogdanovic will actually start at the 3 because he seems like a very, very good player. I think he's going to start at the 3. Then they got Scal ahead of Zach Randolph. I think Zach Randolph will start in the starting lineup. In my opinion, I think he'll be there first, and then Scal will come off the bench. Maybe not. Maybe I'm crazy. And this could go either way, but I think Zebo is going to be there for that veteran presence. Same with George Hill. And then Costa Kufos, don't agree with that. I think Willie Cauley-Stein will be the starting center. And that's what I think Sacramento Kings are going to be looking like. And yeah, they're going to have to be the last team. But the last team, I think they maybe be the 11th team or something. Yeah, the 11th team in the East, honestly, in my opinion. This team is definitely not the worst team in the league by any means. It's actually a decent team, a lot of potential, but someone's going to be last. So let's move on to the number 14 team in the Western Conference. Coming in at the number 14 spot in the Western Conference are the Phoenix Suns here. Very young team, again, with a lot of potential. They didn't lose anyone except Leandro Barbosa. They picked up Josh Jackson, 4th overall. They also got Davon Reed, Alex Peters, and they re-signed Alan Williams. So let's get on to this Phoenix Suns roster right here. We'll look at the depth, and then we can they really didn't lose anyone. So I got Eric Bledsoe at the 1, Brandon Knight off the bench, and they also have Tyler Ulis. A lot of good and a lot of young talent down here. I mean, Brandon Knight's not too young anymore, but Tyler Ulis I think is pretty good. They got him at the point. They got obviously Devin Booker at the 2, pretty freaking easy there. I got Josh Jackson starting at the 3. I definitely agree with that. Marquise Chris starting at the 4. I do agree with that as well. And then Tyson Chandler starting at the 5. I also see that. Maybe even get Alan Williams in there too, but you kind of need another, you got to need Tyson Chandler on there. So I believe this team will be 14th in the West. The West is hard. I'm not even sure about this either, guys. This is a pretty nice young team anyway. They didn't perform last year, but they got a little bit older. And I don't know, man. They'll be better than I think, but someone's got to be 14th as well, so I think that's going to be the Phoenix Suns. Let's go on to 13th. I don't know what LeVar Ball is smoking, but there is no way in hell the Los Angeles Lakers are making the playoffs. I got them coming at 13th in the Western Conference. Obviously, they got Lonzo Ball, who's having himself a great summer league after his first abysmal game. They got Kyle Kuzma, who looks like a nice player. Josh Hart, haven't seen too much from him. And Tony Bradley has potential. They also got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope on a 1-year deal, and they got Brook Lopez from that D'Lo trade. But they lost D'Lo, they lost Mozgov, which they were happy about, Nick Young, Tyreek Black, and Ambiwa. But let's check out the depth chart here. I like how they updated them. They actually updated them today. They didn't update them in the I recorded the Eastern Conference one earlier, so they actually didn't have the stuff updated, but now they do, so that's kind of a lot more convenience. So we got Lonzo Ball starting at the 1. Yes, that's easy. I agree with that. These guys got what I got. Kentavious Kentavious Caldwell-Pope at starting 2. Yes, that's easy. Brandon Ingram at the 3. Yes. Julius Randle at the 4. Yes. And Brook Lopez at the 5. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So this is exactly what I think the starting lineup is going to be, and I believe that's going to be a 13th place finish. Sorry, LeVar, you're smoking something that I don't know what you're smoking, but nah, I'll tell you what, you're wrong, buddy. You are wrong. So let's move on to the 12th team. 12th in the Western Conference is going to be the Dallas Mavericks here. They drafted Dennis Smith Jr., who is looking like a beast in the Summer League. It's only Summer League, but he's just looking like a Russell Westbrook type player, maybe even a Derrick Rose type player. Just looking explosive, and I love to see that from him. He's going to be a really nice player. Mark my words. They obviously re-signed Dirk Nowitzki on a 2-year, $10 million deal, big-ass pay cut, and they also got Josh McRoberts on a salary dump kind of thing, and they lost like DeAndre Liggins, Jared, I don't even know who these people are, honestly, but let's get to the Dallas Mavericks roster, and I'm actually pretty happy they actually updated all these depth charts. It actually makes everything way more convenient. I should have did that. I should have waited. I should have did this at night, or the Eastern Conference, man. I should have... Whatever. All right. Yeah, Dennis Smith, I do think, will probably be the starting point guard. I think they might move Yogi Ferrell to the 2. Maybe. I doubt it. They'll probably start Wesley Matthews. He's older. But I think Yogi Ferrell is actually a decent player. They got him 4th in the depth chart. He did great last year. I don't know why they'd bury him in the depth chart after that. Dorian Finley-Smith. I don't even know who that is. Harrison Barnes at the 3. Yes, Dirk at the 4. And then Nerlens Noel at the 5. Pretty solid team, honestly. It's not the worst team. I think it's obviously worthy of a 12th team in the Western Conference. So, yeah. Mark Cuban said he'd make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. Could this team beat Charlotte? Probably. So, yeah, I could see that. I could see that make it in the East, but not in the West. Sorry. So, let's go on to the 11th team, and it's going to be a little bit of a shocker, but not too much of a shocker. So the team I have finishing 11th in the Western Conference are the Memphis Grizzlies, and the reason that's a little bit surprising is because they usually always make the playoffs. They're always that like fringe playoff team, but they always make the playoffs and never make anything happen. But this time they're not making the playoffs in my book. The losing of Zach Randolph to me, starter right there. That's a void they can't fix right now. They drafted Ivan Rabb. They got Dylan Brooks, who's looking pretty good. They picked up Tyreek Evans and Ben McLemore and Wade Selden, but he re-signed Wade Selden, but that's just not enough. And I think the Grizzlies, they're getting older too. I mean, Marcus Gasol is 33, I believe. Mike Conley's like getting, I think, 31 now. He's just getting up there in age, and yeah, they got they got 2 good players, and that's it. But these players are pretty decent, so that's why I believe they'll be 11th instead. These guys could even drop down to 13, honestly, but I think they'll stay at 11 just for the sole fact that Marcus Gasol and Mike Conley are going to carry them to that 11th spot. Because I mean, they had Zach Randolph here and they made it to the 7th spot. So just imagine, just imagine. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, Mike Conley at the 1, Wade Selden at the 2. I mean, I guess they have to, right? They got to find another shooting guard, honestly. Chandler Parsons, oh my gosh, the worst contract in the NBA is starting for them. That's not good. Brandon Wright, don't know too much about him, honestly, going to be honest. And Marcus Gasol. So that's going to be the 11th team in the West. Let's move on to the 10th teams. These are when the teams start getting a little bit hectic. So I have the Portland Trail Blazers coming in 10th in the Western Conference. Now I know they made the playoffs last year. They snuck into that 8th seed, but not this year. Not this year. I don't see it. They picked up Zach Collins and Caleb Swanigan in the draft. They didn't lose much. They lost Festus Ezeli. Who cares? But I just don't think this Portland team is going to be able to do it. With some teams getting better in the West, you guys will see that later. Some teams kind of fall out, and I think it's going to be Portland in my opinion. We can look at their depth chart here. They didn't lose anyone. They got Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, arguably one of the best front courts in the league. Right, back courts. Yeah, one of the best in the league right there. 2 super good players. It's super good. I'm sorry. Marquise Harkless at the 3. Al-Farouq Aminu at the 4. But you could, I guess I got Zach Collins at the center, but you could put Zach Collins at the 4. And Yusuf Nurkic at the 5, who had himself a really good part of playing for the Blazers. He played really, really well for them. Then he got hurt, but that's okay. You could, I guess, Vaughn Lee could start too. All the 4s there are kind of equal in my opinion. But yeah, this is a Blazers team. I think their front court, this would be able to keep your backcourt. God damn it, let's keep them. And there's just this little triangle right here. Shout out to my boy Phil Jackson. That will be able to keep them at this 10 spot, but not a playoff spot this year. And we're going on to the last playoff team, or not the last playoff team, the last team not to make the playoffs. And this might shock you. So the last team I have, or the first team that I have not making the playoffs, are the Utah Jazz. 5th seed last year. And I had a Utah Jazz fan who commented on one of my videos about 2 days ago. And I just commented, you're not going to like my prediction videos. You probably won't like this. I have the Utah Jazz not making the playoffs. They signed some quality players in the draft of Donovan Mitchell, Tony Bradley solid, and honestly Nigel Williams-Goss at the 55 spot. Great pickup. They also picked up re-signed Joe Ingles. They got Jonas Jerebko and Thabo Sefolosha. They got a lot done here, the Jazz. And they also got Ricky Rubio. Also, they got Ekpe Udoh, but this is not updated for that. But obviously, you know who they lost. They lost Gordon Hayward, very, very big loss. George Hill, very, very big loss. And they kind of lost, some other guys. Trey Lyles, who's really good. And they lost Shelvin Mack, if you cared about Shelvin Mack. I just realized Shelvin Mack and Gordon Hayward, they were still on the same team. Wow, Butler teammates. But here's the new look Jazz that are just going to miss out on the playoffs, sadly. It's going to be Ricky Rubio at the 1, I do believe that. The 2, Rodney Hood, yes. 3, Joe Ingles. The 4, Derek Favors. And 5, we got ourselves Rudy Gobert. It's going to be Rudy Gobert's team, in my opinion now, him and Rodney Hood's team. And this team is a really, really solid team. Very, very good team in the East. But the West, I just got them missing. It's so close. They are literally just missing the playoffs. But this could change because the next team I have, they could flip-flop. If, I'm going to explain, if they do the right thing, I think they'll make the playoffs. But if they don't do the thing I suggest, then I think the Jazz will actually make it. So let's get on to the first playoff team or the last playoff team, whatever way you look at it. So the 8th seed in the Western Conference, I have the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, honestly, they could be the ones falling out, and the Jazz could see themselves coming in. It's not a toss-up. It's kind of like you can go either way. And I'll explain my reasoning behind why I have the Pelicans ahead of the Utah Jazz. But the Pelicans, they did pick up Frank Jackson in the 2nd round. They got re-signed Jrue Holiday, and they picked up Rajon Rondo. They only lost Tim Frazier, so they really didn't do much, but they didn't really lose much. So that's really good. So here's what? Where is? Okay, they didn't update. Rondo's not on this yet. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think Rondo will start at the 1. This is what I want to happen. Rondo will start at the point guard position. They will move Jrue Holiday to the shooting guard position, so they don't have to start Etuan Moore. I think Jrue Holiday will move to the 2. So they'll have Rondo, Jrue Holiday. Oh, they'll have to have Solomon Hill. They will have to. It's not their fault. Maybe they can move Etuan Moore to the 3. I don't know. Maybe they can find someone off the streets to play there. Who knows? And then obviously the big boys. The reason why they'd make the playoffs, Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins. You can't mess with those two. That's amazing right there. Amazing duo. So I believe this New Orleans Pelicans team is going to make the 8th spot. And yeah, we're moving on to the 7th. Coming in at the 7th spot in the Western Conference are the Denver Nuggets. So they actually move up. They missed the playoffs last year, but I have them actually moving up 2 spots this year to 7. They lost Danilo Gallinari, big loss, but they picked up Paul Millsap. So basically they just did kind of a position swap. They also gained Tyler Lydon. They got Vlatko Kankar and Monte Morris. And they also got Trey Lyles from the Utah Jazz. So we're going to go to the depth chart here for the Denver Nuggets. Starting point guard, they have Jameer Nelson. I think Emmanuel Mudiay is actually going to be starting at the point guard position. That is just my humble opinion. Gary Harris at the shooting guard. Maybe even Jamal Murray. He won't start, but maybe Jamal Murray will move to the 3. Wilson Chandler will start, but they need another. They only have one small forward. They need to move Murray, move down there, or Will Barton move down there. That's probably what will happen. And Jamal Murray will come off the bench. Wilson Chandler, then Paul Millsap. Yeah, Kenneth Faried, man, buried down there now. Get rid of Kenneth Faried. I like Faried, but you gotta get rid of him now. He was good, and now he's not as good. And obviously Nikola Jokic, the beast himself. This is a very, very good roster right here. I think they're worthy of a playoff spot and the 7th seed in the West. Coming in at the 6th spot here for the Western Conference, I have the Los Angeles Clippers. Now they lost Chris Paul, but to me, That doesn't mean shit because they picked up so many pieces. Let's go over, like you can see, obviously a lot has happened here. They drafted Juwan Evans and Darius Thornwell. Good pickups in the second round, in my opinion. They re-signed Blake Griffin. That's big. And they signed Milos Teodosic from CSK Moscow. And apparently he's supposed to be one of the best passers in the league, hands down. And they obviously, from the Chris Paul trade, they picked up Patrick Beverley, Sam Decker, Gallinari. They picked up Danilo Gallinari. I guess it was a sign and trade. So they got Gallinari, Montez Harrell, who I like, Darian Hilliard, DeAndre Liggins, Lou Will, and Kyle Wiltjer. But they cut that guy. Rip him. They did lose. Obviously, they lost Chris Paul. They lost Jamal Crawford, Diamond Stone, Paul Pierce, Raymond Felton, and J.J. Redick. But let's go to their roster. And really, they might have even got better. They might have just gotten better, though. I know Chris Paul is a very tough loss, but you just got to kind of how you look at it. And yes, I do. Okay. They have Milos starting at the 1. They got Patrick Beverley starting at the 2. Now, I was thinking maybe Lou Williams will start and Patrick Beverley will come off the bench, but I agree, actually. Lou Williams has always been a 6th man, and I think he actually flourishes best as a 6th man, so that's very, very smart of them. Keep Lou Will at the 6th spot so he can come off the bench and provide quality points and minutes. So Milos at the 1, really, really good passer. Patrick Beverley at the 2, lockdown defender right here, beast passer. Gallinari at the 3, Blake Griffin at the 4, and DeAndre Jordan at the 5. Now, that's a really, really good team. They don't have any depth at center, but that's okay. They got depth on the forwards right here, and that is a really nice team. I think they technically get worse, but they might have just got a little bit better. I mean, it depends how the way the cookie crumbles. It's the way you look at it, half full, half empty, the glass. All right, let's move on to the 5th team in the West, and I'll tell you what, biggest movers of the whole NBA by far, and you probably know who I'm talking about. And the team I'm talking about are the Minnesota Timberwolves. Man, am I big on this team. They got their old logo. That's the wrong logo. That's the wrong logo. But I am really, really high on these guys. I think they're going to do amazing this year. I have them finishing 5th in the Western Conference. They drafted Justin Patton. That was factored from the Jimmy Butler trade. They picked up Jimmy Butler, Jeff Teague, Taj Gibson. Three starters. It's three starters right there. Boom, bang, boom, badingus. They lost Omri Caspi. Oh no. Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine, Ricky Rubio. Those are like big losses, but for what they picked up, it was 100% worth it. Like 10 times. I do that 10 times over. This team, I'm telling you, they got Jeff Teague. They only got one shooting guard. They only have one shooting guard at small forward. They'll have to maybe get rid of their 18 centers in order to get some depth here. Yeah, they're probably going to have to do that. But there's more time. They got Jeff Teague at the 1, Jimmy Butler at the 2, Andrew Wiggins at the 3, Taj Gibson at the 4, and Karl Anthony Towns at the 5. To me, I look at this on paper. Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins, they got better. They're going to get better. Taj Gibson, the veteran presence, Jimmy Butler. This is a 5 seed in the East, guys, to me. It's the West. I strongly believe it. I'm big on the Timberwolves, and a lot of people are, and I am on the Timberwolves bandwagon. But it's now time for the top 4 teams. And this next one is different, but the top 3, it's familiar faces, I'll tell you what. But at the 4th spot in the Western Conference, and we'll have to face the number 1 team in the playoffs. And spoiler alert, it's the Golden State Warriors at number 1. So, I mean, you guys kind of assume that, but... So imagine that, Oklahoma City and Golden State in the second round of the playoffs. That is going to be fire. But let's talk about OKC here. They picked up Terrence Ferguson with the 21st pick in the NBA draft. Very good pickup there. Went overseas to play a little bit. I think it was a smart move on his part. They re-signed Nick Collison. Yes, he gets to play one more year, and he spends his final year in OKC. Let's go. They got Raymond Felton, and finally is a backup point guard. That's good. That's great. They re-signed Andre Roberson. They signed Patrick Patterson, and they got that guy named Paul George. No, they got Paul George, guys, from Indiana, obviously trading Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis. An amazing trade for the Thunder. The only problem is he's on a 1-year deal, and so is Russ. So hopefully it goes good this year, because if it doesn't, OKC could just crumble like that. So obviously they lost Sabonis and Oladipo, and they lost Taj Gibson as well, but they got Patrick Patterson for that. And they got Paul George for Oladipo's role. But let's check out their depth chart, guys. I do think they will finish 4th. We got Russell Westbrook at the 1, the MVP of this year himself. They got Andre Roberson, the shutdown defender, at the 2. Paul George at the 3. Patrick Patterson at the 4. And Steven Adams at the 5. And Enes Kanter will be coming off the bench as the 6th man. I didn't even Jeremy Grant. I thought he was a small forward. But yeah, Enes Kanter is a very good 6th man. Not a good starter, but a beastly 6th man. This team looks really, really good on paper. Russell Westbrook and Paul George, how will they, that's what everyone's asking, how will they play with each other? Will they be good with each other? Will they be bad? We will know. And when the season happens, it's kind of like a Kevin Durant role. Hopefully, this team can maybe even dethrone the Warriors in the second round of the playoffs. We'll find out. The 3rd spot in the Western Conference, to me, is going to belong to the Houston Rockets. Now, they finished 3rd in the Western Conference this year, and I think they're going to do it again. They drafted Isaiah Hartenstein with the 43rd pick. They got Zuki with the 43rd pick of last year. They got to think about getting the 43rd pick. That's kind of weird. They re-signed Nene. They got PJ Tucker. That was a big signing for them. They got Tariq Black, and they got Darian Hilliard. They got Ryan Kelly, DeAndre Liggins. They got Sean Long. They got Chris Paul. They got Tim Quarterman. They got Jared. They got Chris Paul, guys. Chris Paul and PJ Tucker, the 2 biggest signings for the Houston Rockets. Him and James Harden. People are also asking again, how can 2 ball-dominant people work together? They will find a way to work. And guys, this is before Carmelo Anthony. If Carmelo Anthony does go to Houston, I think Houston will be the 2 seed. And then obviously, if Golden State's the 1, the San Antonio Spurs are going to be the 2 seed. So I think if the Rockets do get Mr. Carmelo Anthony, I think the Rockets will get the 2 seed, and the Spurs will get the 3 seed. So it doesn't really matter, just kind of home court advantage. You get one more home game, which is kind of big. So yeah, we're going to check out this team right here and see this Lajonski. We got Chris Paul, obviously, James Harden, with Eric Gordon being the 6th man that he is. Trevor Reeves and PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker, I think, might start, but that's just me. PJ Tucker might even be able to play the 4 unless if they want to go more of a smaller route, but Ryan Anderson can shoot. He is a stretch 4 in a way. And then they got Clint Capella at the 5, but they get Carmelo. They'll put Carmelo at the 3, and that'll just make the team better. And this team's looking really nice with Chris Paul and James Harden. I want to see how they work this year. I hope everything works out. And now we're going to move on to the San Antonio Spurs. So the San Antonio Spurs are going to be finishing 2nd in the Western Conference this year, just like they did last year. They only lost Dwayne Dedmon and Jonathan Simmons in the free agency. They picked up Rudy Gay, Joffrey Laverne. They re-signed Patty Mills, and they got Brandon Paul from Anadolu Elves. That's the same team that Ekpe Udoh played for. I do know that. They also picked up Derek White from, I believe he played for Colorado, and Jaron Blossomgame. That's a name right there. So, Rudy Gay, where will he fit on this Spurs roster? He makes them better, in my opinion. Where did they have him? Let's find out. They got Rudy Gay at the 4, though? No. That's not how it's going to work. They got DeJounte Murray as the starting point guard. I don't think they're going to start Tony Parker. They might still, because he's just kind of old now, and it's not looking good. I believe that it's going to be Patty Mills starting the point guard maybe. If not, they'll have Tony Parker. I don't think DeJounte Murray will. I think they're going to put Rudy Gay at the shooting guard. Either that, or they're going to have Kawhi at the shooting guard. Actually, yeah, I'm going to say they're going to put Kawhi at the 2. They'll put Rudy Gay at the 3, LaMarcus Aldridge at the 4, and then Joffrey Laverne at the 5. Unless they can somehow re-sign Paul Gasol. If Paul Gasol re-signs, then he will play the center, and that will make this team better, but not better than the Warriors. So, yeah, I believe Patty Mills at the 1, Kawhi at the 2, Gay at the 3, Aldridge at the 4, Laverne or Gasol at the 5. That just leaves us one team, everybody, and we all know who it is. It's the Golden State Warriors. They didn't lose a thing, and they re-signed everybody. They didn't lose anyone. They even picked up Jordan Bell. what can we say, guys? You know the lineup. You know them. You know the lineup. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green. That's all you need to hear. That's all you need to hear. That's all. And then Zaza. They got Zaza Pachulia. Let's go. But they just got more depth. It's insane. The team that just won the league got even better. And I'm not doing my playoff predictions yet. I'm not doing that. I'll do those when it gets close to the playoffs. I'll definitely do playoff predictions. But, guys, that is going to be the conclusion of the 2017-2018 NBA season predictions. I'll go over the Western Conference here. I already went over the Eastern Conference. I'll also put it in the description, guys. Don't you worry. 1, Golden State. 2, San Antonio. 3, Houston. 4, OKC. 5, Minnesota. 6, the Clippers. 7, Denver. 8, New Orleans. 9, Utah. 10, Portland. 11, Memphis. 12, Dallas. 13, the Lakers. 14, Phoenix. And 15, Sacramento. So that's it, guys. Let me know down in the comments below if you agree with me or not. Tell me where you guys think everyone's going to finish. Tell me everything, guys. I want to hear all the feedback down below. Tell me how stupid I am. Tell me how smart I am if I want. Tell me how pretty I am if you really want to tell me that. But now, guys, all your feedback, it means so much to me. And this is either going to be up, again, late tonight as of July 16th, or you're going to be seeing this Monday afternoon, July 17th. And then, guys, I already mentioned how I will be announcing the giveaway winner, 300 subscriber giveaway winner, tomorrow as well. So that's going to be it, guys. This has been my prediction video, and if you haven't already, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to YouTube. If you haven't already, this is Tyler signing off, saying, I'll see you in the next one, guys. Have a good one. Later.